To keep seeing more stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. If you like this video, share your feedback in the comments section. The Web of Deception. The crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the penthouse as Catherine Hayes stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city lights twinkle below. 8 months had passed since she married Vincent Moretti, and every moment felt like living in a beautiful dream. She touched her stomach gently, her secret bringing a soft smile to her lips. Soon she would tell him about the baby growing inside her. Vincent emerged from his home office, his tailored navy suit fitting his athletic frame perfectly. At 38, he commanded respect in every room he entered. His dark hair was slightly grayed at the temples, giving him a distinguished appearance that matched his status as one of the city's most successful investment moguls. But Catherine knew the tender heart beneath that powerful exterior. "You're smiling," Vincent said, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. "What's making my beautiful wife so happy tonight?" Catherine leaned into his embrace, breathing in his familiar sandalwood cologne. "Just thinking about how lucky I am. A year ago, I was managing that small bookstore in Brooklyn, and now I'm here with you." "Luck had nothing to do with it," Vincent murmured against her hair. "The moment I walked into your bookstore looking for a first-edition Hemingway, I knew my life was about to change." Their peaceful moment shattered when Vincent's phone buzzed insistently. He glanced at the screen, his expression shifting to concern. "It's Julian. I need to take this." Julian Cross was Vincent's security chief and closest friend since childhood. Catherine watched her husband's face darken as he listened to whatever Julian was telling him. When he ended the call, tension radiated from his shoulders. "What's wrong?" Catherine asked. "There's been a security breach at the office. Financial records accessed without authorization." Vincent's jaw clenched. "Julian is investigating, but it looks like someone close to me is involved." Before Catherine could respond, the doorbell chimed. Vincent frowned. They weren't expecting visitors this late. When he opened the door, Catherine's heart sank. Vivienne Laurent stood there, elegant and poised in a black designer dress, her platinum blonde hair swept into a perfect chignon. "Forgive the intrusion," Vivienne said, her French accent lilting. "But I heard about the security breach, Vincent. I came immediately." Catherine had met Vivienne only twice before. The woman was Vincent's former business partner and, as Catherine later learned, his ex-lover from 5 years ago. Their relationship had ended before Vincent and Catherine met, but something about Vivienne's calculating green eyes made Catherine uneasy. "How did you hear about that?" Vincent asked, suspicion creeping into his voice. "Word travels quickly in our circles, darling." Vivienne glided past him into the penthouse, her gaze sweeping over Catherine with barely concealed disdain. "Hello, Catherine. Still playing house, I see." Vincent's tone carried a warning. "What do you really want?" Vivienne's expression shifted to concern. "I wanted to warn you personally. I've been hearing disturbing rumors about information leaks from your company. Sensitive data being sold to your competitors." "I'm aware," Vincent said curtly. "Julian is handling it." "Is he?" Vivienne pulled out her phone, scrolling through something before handing it to Vincent. "These are communication logs I obtained through my own security contacts. I thought you should see them before making any assumptions about who you can trust." Catherine watched Vincent's face pale as he studied the screen. His eyes flickered to her, something cold and unfamiliar replacing the warmth that had been there moments ago. "What is it?" Catherine moved closer, trying to see the phone, but Vincent pulled it away. "Text messages," he said quietly. "From your number to an unlisted contact. Discussing my business meetings, my travel schedule, confidential financial information." Catherine's blood turned to ice. "That's impossible." "Let me see." Vincent showed her the screen. There, in undeniable detail, were messages sent from her phone number, sharing intimate details about Vincent's business operations. Dates, times, locations of private meetings. Information only someone very close to him would know. I never sent these, Catherine whispered, her hands trembling. Vincent, I swear I never wrote any of these messages. The phone records don't lie, Vivian interjected smoothly. I'm sorry, Catherine, but the evidence is quite clear. Evidence can be fabricated, Catherine shot back, her fear turning to anger. Someone cloned my phone or hacked my number. Vincent, you know me. I would never betray you. Vincent's phone buzzed again. Julian's name flashed on the screen. He answered, listening intently, his expression growing darker with each passing second. When was the transfer made? Vincent asked. A pause. How much? Another pause. I understand. Send me the documentation. When he hung up, the man looking at Catherine was a stranger. Gone was the loving husband who had held her moments ago. In his place stood the ruthless businessman who had built an empire through careful calculation and zero tolerance for deception. Julian traced the information leak, Vincent said, his voice devoid of emotion. The data was sold to Titan Investments, my biggest competitor. The payment was made to an offshore account. An account that was set up 3 weeks ago in your name. What? Catherine felt the room spinning. That's absurd. I don't have any offshore accounts. I barely understand how those work. The account received $200,000, Vincent continued as if she hadn't spoken. Payment for confidential information about my upcoming merger deal. Information that only 3 people knew about. Me, Julian, and you. I told you about it just last week. Catherine remembered the conversation. Vincent had been excited about acquiring a struggling tech company, turning it around. He'd shared his plans with her over dinner, trusting her completely. Someone is setting me up, Catherine pleaded. Can't you see that? Vivian shows up with convenient evidence right when this breach happens? This is too perfectly timed. Paranoia doesn't suit you, Catherine, Vivian said softly. I understand you're upset, but attacking me won't change the facts. Vincent walked to the bar, pouring himself a scotch with mechanical precision. I need to see more evidence before I make any decisions. Of course, Vivian agreed. Which is why I also brought these. She pulled out a tablet, swiping through photographs. Catherine's stomach dropped as she recognized herself in the images. There she was, sitting in a cafe with a man she'd never seen before. Another photo showed her accepting an envelope from the same man. A third captured her getting into a luxury car that I don't know who that man is, Catherine said desperately. Those photos are fake. Photoshopped or staged with someone who looks like me. The metadata confirms they were taken last Tuesday, Vivian explained. The same day Vincent was in Chicago for business. The man in the photos is Gerald Price, a known corporate spy who works for Titan Investments. Vincent drained his scotch in one swallow, setting the glass down with enough force to make Catherine flinch. I can explain, Catherine started, though she had no explanation for photos of events that never happened. Can you? Vincent's voice was dangerously quiet. Can you explain why your phone sent those messages? Why an offshore account in your name received blood money? Why you were photographed meeting with my competitor's spy? Because none of it is real, Catherine cried. Someone went to elaborate lengths to frame me. Please, Vincent, use your brilliant mind. Think about this logically. Why would I risk everything we have for money? I never cared about your wealth. Didn't you? Vivian's voice was poison honey. A bookstore manager who suddenly finds herself married to a billionaire? The temptation must have been overwhelming. Perhaps you thought you could have it all. The luxury lifestyle and a secret fortune of your own. That's not who I am, Catherine turned to her husband. Vincent, you know my heart. You know I fell in love with you before I even knew about your money. For a moment, Catherine saw doubt flicker in Vincent's eyes. But Vivian wasn't finished. "There's one more thing," she said quietly. Julian also discovered that Catherine has been in regular contact with someone from her past. Someone she claimed she'd lost touch with years ago. Catherine's confusion must have shown because Vivian smiled sympathetically. "Thomas Hayes. Your ex-husband." The name hit Catherine like a physical blow. Thomas had been a mistake from her early 20s, a brief marriage that ended in disaster when she discovered his gambling addiction and mounting debts. She hadn't spoken to him in over 7 years. "I haven't contacted Thomas," Catherine said firmly. "We've had no communication since our divorce." "Then explain these phone records," Vincent said, accepting another document from Vivian. "Calls between your number and Thomas Hayes' current number. Dozens of them over the past 2 months." Catherine stared at the records, her mind reeling. This was impossible. All of it was impossible. Yet the evidence was mounting, each piece carefully crafted to destroy her credibility, her marriage, everything she held dear. "Someone is doing this," she whispered. "Someone wants to destroy us." "Or someone got greedy," Vincent said coldly. "Someone thought they could play both sides and got caught." Catherine's hand moved instinctively to her stomach, where their child grew, unaware of the storm destroying their family. She had to tell him now. Had to make him understand that she would never endanger their baby by betraying him. "Vincent, I need to tell you something important," she began. But he held up his hand, cutting her off. "I don't want to hear any more lies tonight." "It's not a lie. I'm..." "Enough," Vincent's voice cracked like a whip. "Julian is on his way here with additional evidence. Until then, I suggest you think carefully about the truth, Catherine. Because when I have all the facts, there will be consequences." Vivian gathered her things, touching Vincent's arm gently. "I'm so sorry you're going through this, darling. If you need anything, I'm just a phone call away." After she left, silence filled the penthouse like a living thing. Catherine watched her husband, this man she loved more than life itself, look at her with suspicion and disappointment. "I love you," she said softly. "Whatever happens, whatever evidence Julian brings, please remember that I love you." Vincent turned away, walking back to his office. Love isn't enough when trust is gone. As his office door closed, Catherine sank onto the sofa, tears streaming down her face. Someone had orchestrated this perfectly, using her own phone, creating false accounts, fabricating photographs and records. But who hated her enough to go to such lengths? Then it hit her. The way Vivian had appeared so conveniently. The perfectly timed evidence. The intimate knowledge of Vincent's business dealings. Vivian hadn't just stumbled upon this information. She had created it. The former lover wanted her position back, and she was willing to destroy an innocent woman to get it. Catherine dried her tears, determination replacing despair. She had to prove her innocence before Vincent made a decision he would regret forever. For herself, for their marriage, and for the child he didn't yet know existed. She pulled out her phone, searching for anyone who might help her. But as she scrolled through her contacts, a chilling realization struck her. Who could she trust when all the evidence pointed to her guilt? The night stretched ahead, dark and uncertain, as Catherine prepared to fight for everything she held dear. The shattering truth. Dawn broke over the city, but Catherine hadn't slept. She'd spent the entire night trying to trace the source of the fake evidence, calling her bank to investigate the offshore account she knew nothing about, and attempting to contact Thomas Hayes to understand why his number showed calls to hers. Vincent emerged from his office looking equally exhausted. He'd been reviewing documents all night, building his case against her like she was just another business problem to solve. "Julian will be here in an hour," he said without looking at her. "He has more information about the leaks." "Vincent, please listen to me for just 5 minutes," Catherine pleaded. "I contacted my bank. They have no record of any offshore account in my name. The documentation Vivian showed you is fabricated. Or you're lying about checking with your bank, Vincent replied, his voice flat. Call them yourself, Catherine handed him her phone. Call my bank manager, Richard Morrison. He's been managing my account since before we met. He'll confirm I have no offshore accounts. For the first time since yesterday, Vincent seemed to waver. He took her phone, staring at it as if it might hold answers. And the text messages, he asked. The photographs? The phone calls to your ex-husband? All fabricated or manipulated, Catherine insisted. Think about it, Vincent. You built your fortune by recognizing patterns, by seeing what others miss. Look at the pattern here. Vivian appears with evidence exactly when you're most vulnerable. She has access to information about your business that only someone inside your company would have. She knows details about my past that I never shared with anyone except you. Vincent's eyes narrowed. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that your ex-lover wants her position back in your life, and she's willing to destroy me to get it. Before Vincent could respond, his phone rang. It was Julian, arriving early. Within minutes, the security chief entered the penthouse, his expression grave. Julian was a tall man with military bearing, his sharp features set in perpetual alertness. Boss, we need to talk, Julian said, then noticed Catherine. Privately. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of my wife, Vincent said, and Catherine's heart leaped at the word wife spoken without coldness. Julian hesitated, then nodded. I've been digging deeper into the evidence Vivian provided. Something doesn't add up. What do you mean? Vincent asked. The offshore account in Catherine's name? It was set up using forged documents. The signature on the account application doesn't match Catherine's actual signature. I compared it to her signature on your marriage license. Catherine felt hope flare in her chest. I told you I didn't open that account. There's more, Julian continued. The text messages from Catherine's phone? They were sent using a cloning technique. Someone created a duplicate of her SIM card and sent messages that would appear to come from her number. Who has that kind of technical capability? Vincent asked. Someone with resources and motivation, Julian said carefully. I pulled security footage from the cafe where Catherine was supposedly photographed meeting Gerald Price. The woman in those photos isn't Catherine. It's someone who looks similar from a distance, but facial recognition software confirms it's not her. Vincent sank into a chair, the weight of his mistake evident in every line of his body. The phone calls to Thomas Hayes? Also fabricated call records, Julian confirmed. I spoke with the phone company directly. The actual call logs show no communication between Catherine's number and Hayes' number. Someone created false documentation. Catherine felt vindicated but also terrified. If Vivian had gone to such elaborate lengths to frame her, what else was she capable of? I need to tell you something, Catherine said, her voice shaking. Something I should have told you last night, but you wouldn't let me speak. Vincent finally looked at her, really looked at her, and she saw the man she married resurface behind the cold businessman's mask. I'm pregnant, Catherine said softly. 10 weeks. I found out 2 weeks ago and was waiting for the perfect moment to tell you. I would never, ever endanger our child by betraying you or putting our family at risk. Vincent's face went white. He stood abruptly, crossing the room to her in 3 long strides. His hands cupped her face gently, searching her eyes. You're carrying our baby? His voice cracked with emotion. Yes, Catherine whispered. I love you, Vincent. Only you. I would never betray you. I'm so sorry. Vincent pulled her into his arms, holding her as if she might disappear. I'm so sorry I doubted you. I should have trusted you. I should have investigated before jumping to conclusions. Catherine held him tightly, relief flooding through her. But their moment was interrupted by Vincent's phone ringing. It was an unknown number. Mr. Moretti, a distorted voice said when Vincent answered on speaker. If you want to know the truth about what's really happening, check your wife's car. The real evidence is in the trunk. The line went dead. Vincent, Catherine, and Julian exchanged worried glances. They hurried to the building's parking garage where Catherine's silver sedan was parked. Julian carefully popped the trunk, and all three of them stared in shock at what they found. Stacks of documents detailing Vincent's business operations. USB drives labeled with dates and deal names. A burner phone with messages to Titan Investments. And most damning of all, bundles of cash totaling what looked like hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is a setup, Catherine said immediately. I've never seen any of this before. Someone planted it here. When was the last time you drove this car? Julian asked. Catherine thought back. 3 days ago. I went to my doctor's appointment to confirm the pregnancy. I've been using Vincent's driver since then. Who has access to the garage? Vincent demanded. Building residents, parking staff, and anyone with a security code, Julian replied. Which includes Vivian Laurent. She visited your office last week and you gave her a temporary access code for the parking garage. Vincent's jaw clenched. Pull all security footage from the garage for the past 72 hours. I want to know everyone who came near Catherine's car. As Julian made calls to building security, Catherine felt a wave of dizziness. The stress, the lack of sleep, and the pregnancy were taking their toll. She swayed slightly, and Vincent caught her immediately. You need to rest, he said firmly. Julian and I will handle this. Let me take you upstairs. No, Catherine insisted. I need to see this through. Vivian isn't going to stop until she destroys me completely. We need to confront her with the truth. We will, Vincent promised. But first, you need to take care of yourself and our baby. As they rode the elevator back up to the penthouse, Catherine's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You should have left when you had the chance. Now you'll lose everything, including him. Catherine showed the message to Vincent, whose expression darkened with fury. She's threatening you, he said quietly. She's actually threatening my wife and unborn child. When they reached the penthouse, Vincent made Catherine promise to rest while he and Julian worked. Reluctantly, she agreed, lying down in their bedroom. But sleep wouldn't come. Her mind raced with possibilities, with fears about what Vivian might do next. An hour later, she heard raised voices from the living room. Catherine got up, moving quietly to the bedroom door. Vivian was there, her voice sharp with accusation. You can't seriously believe her denials, Vincent, Vivian was saying. The evidence in her car proves everything. She's been playing you from the beginning. The evidence in her car was planted, Vincent replied coldly. Just like everything else you fabricated. I fabricated nothing, Vivian's voice rose. I was trying to protect you from a con artist who saw you as a meal ticket. Funny how you're the only one who keeps finding evidence against Catherine, Julian interjected. Almost like you know exactly where to look because you put it there yourself. This is absurd, Vivian snapped. Vincent, you know me. We have history. Would I really try to sabotage your marriage? Yes, Vincent said simply. You would. Because you never accepted that I moved on, that I found real love with someone else. Catherine heard a sharp crack, like a hand hitting a table. Real love? She's a nobody who got lucky. I built my career alongside you, Vincent. We were supposed to be partners, in business and in life. We were business partners, Vincent corrected. Nothing more. What we had ended years ago, and it ended because you cared more about power and status than genuine connection. And she doesn't? Vivian laughed bitterly. Open your eyes, Vincent. She trapped you with a pregnancy. How convenient that she reveals it right when she's caught. Catherine had heard enough. She walked into the living room, her hand protectively over her stomach. "I didn't trap anyone," Catherine said calmly. "And I wasn't caught because I did nothing wrong." "But you did, Vivian. You fabricated evidence, planted documents in my car, created false accounts and records. The question is why you hate me so much when I never did anything to you." Vivian's beautiful face twisted with contempt. "You took what was mine. Vincent was supposed to be mine." "Vincent is a person, not property," Catherine replied. "He makes his own choices, and he chose to marry me because we love each other." "Love," Vivian spat the word. "You don't know the first thing about real partnership. You're just a simple little bookstore girl playing dress-up in a world you don't understand." "Maybe I don't understand corporate espionage and manipulation," Catherine acknowledged. "But I understand loyalty, honesty, and real love. Things you've clearly forgotten." Vivian lunged forward, but Julian stepped between them smoothly. "I think it's time for you to leave, Ms. Laurent." "Vincent," Vivian appealed to him directly, her voice softening. "Please. Don't throw away everything we built together for someone who will never understand your world the way I do." Vincent moved to stand beside Catherine, his arm wrapping protectively around her shoulders. "You're right about one thing, Vivian. Catherine doesn't understand manipulation and betrayal. She doesn't understand how someone could be so consumed by jealousy that they'd fabricate evidence and plant false information. She doesn't understand that kind of cruelty because she's a genuinely good person. That's exactly why I love her." Vivian's composure finally cracked, tears streaming down her perfect makeup. "I loved you first." "No," Vincent said gently but firmly. "You loved the idea of what we could accomplish together. You loved the power and the status. But you never loved me the way Catherine does, unconditionally and selflessly. You'll regret this." Vivian's voice hardened again. "I have connections, resources. I can destroy both of you. Try it." Vincent's voice turned to steel. "And I'll make sure everyone in our industry knows exactly what you did. Corporate espionage, fraud, harassment. I have evidence of everything now, thanks to your own overconfidence." Julian held up his phone. "Including a recording of this entire conversation, admitting to planting evidence and fabricating documentation." Vivian's face paled as she realized she'd been caught. "Get out," Vincent said quietly. "And if you ever come near my wife again, if you ever threaten my family, I will use every resource I have to ensure you never work in this city again." Vivian stared at him for a long moment, then grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. She paused at the threshold, looking back at Catherine. "You won," she said bitterly. "Enjoy it while it lasts." After she left, silence filled the penthouse. Catherine felt her knees weaken, and Vincent caught her, guiding her to the sofa. "It's over," he murmured. "I'm so sorry you had to go through this." "We both made mistakes," Catherine said softly. "You should have trusted me, but I understand why the evidence seemed convincing. Vivian is nothing if not thorough." "I should have known better," Vincent insisted. "I should have trusted my heart instead of letting doubt poison my mind." Julian discreetly excused himself, leaving the couple alone. Vincent knelt in front of Catherine, his hands gently covering her stomach. "Can you forgive me?" he asked. "For doubting you, for believing lies about you, for not protecting you the way I should have?" "Yes," Catherine whispered, running her fingers through his hair. "But Vincent, we need to be honest with each other always. If something like this ever happens again." "It won't," he promised. "I've learned my lesson. Trust isn't just something you give once, it's something you choose every single day. And I choose to trust you, to believe in you, no matter what evidence anyone presents." Catherine pulled him close, feeling the tension of the past 24 hours finally release. "We're going to be parents," Vincent said wonderingly, his hand still resting on her stomach. "We're really going to be parents." "In about 7 months," Catherine confirmed. Are you happy? Happy doesn't even begin to cover it. Vincent looked up at her, his eyes shining with emotion. Terrified, excited, grateful, all of it. But mostly just grateful that I didn't lose you when I was being an idiot. They held each other for a long time, healing beginning to replace the hurt. But Catherine couldn't shake the memory of Vivian's final words, the promise that this victory wouldn't last. Do you think she'll really try to destroy us? Catherine asked quietly. She might try, Vincent admitted. But we'll face it together. Whatever comes next, we face it as a team. No more doubts, no more listening to poisonous lies. Just us, trusting each other and protecting our family. As the sun set over the city, casting the penthouse in warm golden light, Catherine allowed herself to believe that the worst was behind them. They had survived Vivian's schemes, their marriage was stronger for having weathered the storm, and soon they would welcome a new life into the world. But deep down, a small voice of worry whispered that Vivian Laurent wasn't the type to accept defeat gracefully. Catherine pushed the worry aside, focusing instead on Vincent's arms around her and the future they would build together. She had no way of knowing that in just a few hours, everything would change again, testing their renewed trust in ways neither of them could imagine. Race against time. Catherine woke from an uneasy sleep to find Vincent's side of the bed empty. The clock on the nightstand read 2:17 a.m. Worry gnawed at her as she wrapped herself in a robe and went searching for her husband. She found him in his study, surrounded by documents and laptop screens glowing in the darkness. He looked up when she entered, exhaustion evident in every line of his face. You should be sleeping, Vincent said gently. The doctor said you need rest. So should you, Catherine replied, settling into the chair across from his desk. What are you working on at this hour? Vincent hesitated, then sighed. Building a case against Vivian. I want to make sure she can never do something like this again, to us or to anyone else. Vincent, let it go, Catherine urged. We won. She's gone. Let's just focus on our future, on our baby. I can't, Vincent admitted. Not after what she did to you, to us. She needs to face consequences. Before Catherine could respond, both their phones buzzed simultaneously with incoming messages. Catherine's stomach dropped as she read the text from an unknown number. Check your email. You'll want to see this before it goes public. Vincent was already opening his laptop, pulling up his email account. His face went white as he clicked on an attachment. What is it? Catherine moved around the desk to look at the screen. The email contained photographs. Dozens of them. Images of Vincent and Vivian together from years ago, intimate moments that looked recent thanks to clever editing. But worse were the fabricated images showing Vincent entering hotels with Vivian over the past few months, timestamps and locations making them appear current and real. These are fake, Vincent said immediately. I haven't seen Vivian alone since before our wedding. These are old photos edited to look recent, or they're completely fabricated. Another email arrived, this one containing screenshots of text messages supposedly between Vincent and Vivian, discussing their ongoing affair and his plans to leave Catherine. The messages were crude, explicit, and devastating. None of this is real, Vincent insisted, gripping Catherine's hand. You have to believe me. I would never cheat on you, never betray you this way. I know, Catherine said, but her voice trembled. I believe you, Vincent. But if Vivian releases these to the media, to your business associates, it will destroy my reputation, my business relationships, everything, Vincent finished grimly. That's exactly what she wants. His phone rang. Julian's name flashed on the screen. Boss, we have a problem, Julian said without preamble when Vincent answered on speaker. Vivian Laurent just sent a press release to every major media outlet in the city. It's scheduled to go public at 8 a.m. unless you meet her demands. What demands? Vincent asked. She wants full ownership of Moretti Investments, $10 million in cash, and for you to publicly announce that your marriage to Catherine was a fraud to hide your ongoing relationship with Vivian. Catherine felt like she'd been punched. She wants to destroy everything. If we don't comply, she'll release the fabricated evidence, claiming you've been having an affair throughout your marriage, Julian continued. She'll position herself as the wronged other woman, and Catherine as the naive wife you married for appearances while continuing your real relationship with Vivian. No one will believe that, Vincent said, but uncertainty crept into his voice. With the doctored photos and fake messages as evidence, plenty of people will believe it, Julian replied. Especially your more conservative business partners and investors. This kind of scandal could tank several major deals. Vincent stood abruptly, pacing the study like a caged animal. So what are our options? We expose her fabrications before she can release her version, Julian suggested. Call a press conference, show our evidence of her manipulation, turn this back on her. That could work, Vincent said slowly. But it would still be messy, still create a scandal. Or, Julian paused. We pay her off. Give her what she wants to make this go away quietly. Absolutely not, Catherine interjected firmly. We don't negotiate with someone like her. She'll just keep coming back with new demands, new threats. This has to end now. Vincent looked at his wife with a mixture of love and concern. Catherine, I appreciate your strength, but this could get very ugly very fast. Are you prepared for our private lives to become public fodder? I'm prepared to fight for our marriage and our family, Catherine replied. I won't let her win by making us afraid. Another email arrived, this one addressed directly to Catherine. She opened it to find a single message. You took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from you. This is just the beginning. By sunrise, the whole world will know what kind of man you really married. Enjoy your last few hours of happiness. Catherine showed the message to Vincent, whose expression darkened with fury. She's gone too far, he said quietly. Julian, set up.